Hello everyone. How are you guys? We got a good group of people in, so I think we can start the stream now. So, hello. Welcome to the Always Keep Ice in Your Pocket presentation. My name is Brooke, and today I will be telling you all about this project, my mice, and the medical ID feature on cell phones. Feel free to input questions into the chat box, and I will answer them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A session. Now, let's get into it. Always Keep Ice in Your Pocket is a Girl Scout Gold Award project dedicated to stressing the importance of and promoting the use of carrying a form of identification, physical and/or digital, that contains essential personal, medical, and emergency contact information. It is my goal that all of you watching today will become educated about why it's so important to carry medical identification and will pass this information on to your family members and friends to ensure they are also prepared in case of emergency. So you may be thinking, why is it important to carry medical information? Well, I started this project after hearing tragic stories of people who got into accidents and did not have proper identification on them to let the emergency workers identify and safely treat them. Should you ever become incapacitated and need to be treated by an emergency worker, the worker needs to be able to identify you, know your essential medical information, such as allergies and current medications, and know who your emergency contacts are and how to get in contact with them. So, as I mentioned before, there are two different forms of emergency information you can carry, physical and digital. Let's go over the physical identification first. I created and designed mice. And don't be afraid, it's not like the little pesky creatures that run around your house. You have no reason to be afraid of these mice. These mice are here to help you. MICE stands for Medical Information Card for Emergency. It is a small, lightweight card that you can carry in your wallet. It contains essential information emergency workers need in order to treat you safely in case you ever become incapacitated. The MICE contains your name, date of birth, address, your emergency contacts. Just be sure to write at least one in case one of your contacts is with you at the time you become incapacitated. Your healthcare provider, known allergies, known medical conditions, and the medications you currently take. So I'm going to be mailing some of you watching a mice card or meeting with you in person, but if not, you can always print your own set of mice from my website. The link is in the description of this live stream, and I will also show you the website after I'm done with this PowerPoint. So, in the meantime, you could get out a piece of paper and take notes, and if you have any questions, feel free to write it in the chat box if you want me to go back or explain something more, and I will be happy to help you. So, I will explain how to fill out the mice, and I will dedicate a few seconds after each instruction so you can either fill out the card or take notes. So the mice is the size of the standard credit card, meaning it can fit perfectly into your wallet. The top and side of the card say in bold letters, Medical Information Card for Emergency. So when you finish filling the card out, place the card in your wallet with that phrase facing upwards. By doing this, emergency workers can easily find your medical information when they look for your identification. So let's go over the front and back side of the card. First, we'll start with the front side. The front side of the card contains your basic information. So the first thing on the card is your full name. So if you have the card out in front of you, you can fill that out now. After is your DOB, or date of birth. Write your birthday on the space provided now. Next is your address. Write your address on the line. This line is a little bit small, so you need to write really small. Just make sure it is legible. Then are your emergency contacts. As I mentioned before, write more than one person. Write their names and phone numbers on the lines provided. After is your healthcare provider. Write his or her name and phone number on the line at the bottom of the card. Great, so now we have the front side of the card filled out. Flip to the other side to fill out the rest. This side of the card has your medical information. Emergency workers will look at this side of the card and will base your treatment off of the information you write here. First are your known allergies. Please write allergies you have on the space provided. I include the word known here because some people think they do not have allergies, but they might and they're just not aware of it. If this description sounds like you, please write none known. Again, that's none known. I will type it out in the chat box so you can see. Okay, I sent it in the chat box so you all can see what it looks like. So it's better to write none known instead of leaving the section blank so emergency workers are not questioning whether you skipped over it, whether you skipped over that section or not. And they if you skip over the section, then the emergency workers might look at that and be like, oh, well, does this person have any allergies or not? So it's just better to write none known so they know you're not aware that you have any allergies. So next are your known medical conditions. Write medical conditions you have on the space provided. Again, I include the word known here. Same thing, some people think they do not have any medical conditions, but they might have some they are not aware of. If this description sounds like you, please write none known. It's the same phrase I just typed in the chat box, so it's better to write none known instead of leaving the section blank because the emergency workers won't question if you just skipped over that section and if you have any medical conditions. So last is your medications. Write the medications you take on the space below. Okay, congratulations! You just finished completing your mice. Take time now to put it in your wallet with the bold medical information card for emergency face up. Make sure that phrase is visible so anyone who finds your wallet can see that phrase. Okay, now let's talk about digital emergency information. So all modern phones allow you to input your emergency information so emergency workers can find it if you ever become incapacitated. So it's really cool, and they can find it even if your phone is password protected. So the medical ID is a feature on your phone that contains essential emergency information. If you ever become incapacitated, an emergency worker will be able to treat you safely and contact your emergency contacts simply by opening this feature. So the medical ID contains the same things as the mice, but the only difference is that the medical ID contains medical conditions, your blood type, if you're an organ donor, and your weight and height. So let's look at how you could set up the medical ID feature on your phones. I have 3 separate sets of instructions: Apple, Android, and Samsung. More detailed instructions can be found on my website, and I will show you how to find them after I'm done with this presentation. But first, we're just going to go over the really quick way of doing it. So I will pause, like I did with the mice, I will pause after I say each instruction so you can fill out your medical ID feature and get to take a look at the PowerPoint. So first, let's look at Apple iPhones. You can set up your medical ID through the Health app, and its icon is shown here in the top right corner. Please note, you must have the Health app set up prior to filling out the medical ID. You will know if you have to set the app up if there is a blue Get Started button at the bottom of your screen when you open the app. So to enter your medical ID, first you need to open the Health app. Again, the icon is seen in the top right corner of this PowerPoint. Then tap on the Medical ID tab, and then tap Edit. You can enter your medical information in the spaces provided. Click Done, and make sure you have it set so the medical ID is accessible from the lock screen. The information will be available to anyone from the lock screen by tapping Emergency when they try to enter your passcode, and then Medical ID in the bottom left corner. So there are a bunch of different types of iPhones nowadays, and they all have slightly different instructions, but this is just the general instruction. I'll show you where you could find all the different sets of instructions for Apple iPhones at the end of this PowerPoint. Next, let's look at Android phones, which contain Motorola's, Google phones, OnePlus phones, and Sony phones. So first, open the Settings app and tap System, and then tap About Phone, and then tap Emergency Information. Enter whatever information you'd like to share. For medical information, tap on Edit Information. However, if you don't see Edit Information, you may need to tap Info first. There's also a section for emergency contacts, and you can just tap Add Contact. If you don't see Add Contact to tap on, you may have to first tap Contacts. Emergency workers will be able to get your information by swiping up on the lock screen and tapping Emergency, and then tapping Emergency Information, and then tapping on Emergency Information when it flashes. Finally, let's look at Samsung Galaxy phones. It's super important to note that these phones do not have an explicit medical ID feature. You must enter your medical information in Settings, and it will automatically appear on your lock screen once you tap Done. So to do this, first go to Settings, and then tap Lock Screen and Security, then tap Info and App Shortcuts, and then tap Owner Information. Enter your emergency information, and then choose Done. To add emergency contacts, you'll need to add phone numbers to the ICE, in case of emergency, contacts group in the Contacts app. So to do this, first you need to open the Contacts app, and then tap the Groups button in the top right corner. Tap on the ICE Emergency Contacts group, and add your emergency contacts. Then hit Save. To enable the calling of emergency contacts from the lock screen, you'll need to make sure your phone is locked first. Then go to the lock screen without actually unlocking it. Hold the phone icon and drag it to the center of the screen. When the keypad shows up, hit the Emergency Call button. Then you can add contacts from your emergency group by hitting the plus symbol by each new contact. You can have up to 3 contacts from the ICE group. Now, your information will now appear on the lock screen. So that's the end of the PowerPoint, and you could see in the black box on screen the website link. So you can all take some time now to either take a picture of it or write it down. I'll show you what the website looks like in a second. I'll just give you guys some time to record the website URL. Okay. Now we'll go. Seems like we're having a little bit of some technical difficulties trying to pull up the website, but that's okay. We could pull it up now. Just give it a second to load. Okay. So this is the website. I created it myself. We got some nice pictures in the back, and it has the same information on the PowerPoint. As you can see, like the about and why carry. So you can get your own mice by clicking download and print. And this button, it opens up a link to a PDF where you could download and print your own mice. They come 8 on a page, so you could cut it out and put it in your wallet. And then here's where you could find, on the right it says Apple, Android, and Samsung. You can find the more detailed instruction and specific to like each phone for iPhones. So you could see like the more recent iPhones are up here, the older ones are below it. So that's the website. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram and subscribe on YouTube. They all have the username Keep Ice in Your Pocket. So you can do that. We have a couple more live streams scheduled for this week, and we're going to do a live demonstration of filling out the mice and the medical ID feature on Instagram tomorrow and on Thursday. So I believe we have one question, and it says, are emergency medical technicians trained to know where to look on mobile phones? The answer is yes, they are. There are a couple girls in my class who are training to be EMTs, and when I was speaking with them to gain research and information for my project, they did say that they are trained to look where, like for each phone, like they are trained to look where and like how to find the medical ID. So it really works. And it's really important that you all have this just in case you ever become incapacitated and need to be treated by an emergency worker. So if you have any more questions, you can type them in the chat box. And while doing that, I'll go over some frequently asked questions. So one of the questions I got is, what exactly is the Girl Scout Gold Award? So the Girl Scout Gold Award is the highest earning award a Girl Scout can get. It's a project that they use the phrase make the world a better place. So the girl makes a difference not only just in her community, but nationally and globally. So that's what I'm trying to do with my project. And another question is, like, what type of emergency workers look for this identification? So sometimes it's the EMT, or sometimes it's like a police officer or a firefighter, whoever's on site. Okay, so thank you all for coming. This is going to be the end of the presentation. If you would like to tune in to tonight's, we'll go over the same information. And yeah, you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, thank you all for coming out. Have a great day!